Welcome to Novi Sad, where the Danube flows beneath the walls of Petrovaradin, and the stones of Ratzenstadt remember every exile, every whisper, every fear. Tonight, our steps turn upriver to the year 1728, when the city of Szeged was seized by madness. In its streets, neighbors became accusers, and the courts lit their verdicts in fire. The great witch trials of Szeged ended with 12 souls bound to the pyres, their cries carried by the Tissa down to the frontier. Here, in Ratzenstadt, and the Petrovaradin Schanze. The fire never touched the houses, but its shadow did. Markets grew quiet, soldiers crossed themselves at night, and even the faithful began to fear their own prayers. Come with me as we walk through alleys and fortress tunnels and listen for the memory of that summer, the summer when Szeged burned its witches and the whole frontier trembled at the glow.
The year is 1728, and the Danube lies heavy under the hush of drought. If you step from your bed late tonight, you might catch it. The creak of wooden wheels dragging empty sacks, the buzz of flies over shriveled fields, the clang of church bells pleading against hunger. The dry heat bakes Ratzenstadt's streets, gnaws at Petrovaradin's nerves, and cracks the black earth of Futak, aching for rain. It is summer, and the sky itself has become something to fear. In this parched stillness, rumors coil like smoke, as if shadows sense the hunger in men's hearts. Word moves easily in the dark. Witchcraft, they whisper, old as thunder, cruel as famine. No rain for the peasants, no mercy from God. Perhaps something has gone terribly wrong along the bone-white Tissa, or perhaps someone... Recall the Almash Church, raised to shelter, to outlast hunger, to anchor souls adrift between empires. Tonight we return to those uneasy streets, but the shadow we follow is not cast by fortress or chapel. It is cast by fire. The Tissa, always the Tissa, carries more than water. That summer she bore darker cargo. Szeged had fallen to madness. Witches, they said, were trading with the Turks, selling rain bound in sacks, bartering storms to the Ottomans while their neighbors withered in thirst. The stories slunk into the taverns of Almash, merchants whispering of midwives once trusted, now called devils, of wise women damned for binding the clouds and wringing the sky dry. Absurdity to it when you repeat it out loud. Rain bundled like spice sold across the frontier. Yet the laughter in Petrovaradin's barracks was brittle. When even soldiers, men who'd survived Ottoman guns and sabers in a dark, crossed themselves at such tales, the rumor had curdled into something more than a joke. Hushed voices gathered in corners.
Sada je vrijeme prigrliti gospodina! Sada je vrijeme za molitve! Veštice bi mogle već biti među nama!
If Szeged burns her poor, how long before Vienna permits the same here?
Vidjet ćete vi kad ovo zlo dođe I do Petrovaradina.
The river laughed at the hull, tavern voices drained into silence, and a soldier's giggle withered in his throat. It doesn't take much for a ghost to find legs in a city where worry runs deep. Alleys of Ratzenstadt, the Petrovaradin Schanze. Life in 1728 pushed forward, stubborn as ever. The Almash quarter, its crooked lanes carved by families who had dragged their homes here by ox cart, rang with the bray of the market. Orthodox bells called the devout to humble chapels, while children darted past baskets stacked with cabbage and hope. It was a town built on nervous breath and stubborn promise, half mud, half faith in tomorrow. But when the Szeged rumors arrived, everyday life slipped sideways. Grandmothers who once whispered for rain on hot July nights now bit their tongues, pressing old charms deeper into their aprons. Market healers, midwives who'd long cured fevers and mended coughs, saw their customers retreat.
Ez jó lesz a kisfiúnak, száraz és meleg napokon is megőrzi a békét.
Igen, anyám, köszönöm.
A sick cow, a blighted crop. Even a restless child could plant suspicion. Wordless glances replaced greetings. And folk remedies, once a comfort of kitchens, were hidden behind doors. I suppose having known folk like that, caretakers, quick with a prayer and a healing leaf, it's all too easy for fear to eat kindness when the rain won't fall. Even the humble Almash quarter, so proud of its crooked maze of streets, learned to hide what once made it special. A distant thunder, once a relief, now sounded like a warning. That's how you know fear has its fingers in a place. It twists familiar things into something strange. Across the Danube, the fortress of Petrovaradin rose against the sky. Cold, vigilant, busy with the work of empires. They called it the Gibraltar on the Danube, and for good reason. All summer long, engineers marked out new bastions, artillerymen drilled, and soldiers from a dozen provinces shared bread and traded rumors in the echoing tunnels. The officers, mostly German, Hungarian, and Czech, mocked the Szeged rumors as peasant madness.
To su samo priče za plašenje djece.
Witch burning? That's for fools and crones. But chaplains thundered louder. Every drought was a warning, every fever the devil's soft tap. The Grenzers, those border soldiers, felt the unease most keenly. Tales of Satan's legions, of Taltos shamans and witches riding storm clouds, drifted through the gallery. And even men hardened by sieges and sabers found this quiet terror harder to stamp out than any Ottoman raid. The fortress was a machine built for control. Yet every measure of control breeds its own anxiety. Soldiers patrolled, boots thudding through the galleries, while chaplains thundered sermons against the devil. From above came the relentless beat of fortress drums. From below, only the echo of nerves. All it would take was a spark, anything to turn gossip into panic. Then all at once, the rumors drew blood. On the 23rd of July, 12 souls were bound to pyres on Szeged, Witch's Island on the Tisa. Among them was Dániel Rózsa, once Szeged's judge and wealthiest man, now confessed under rope and iron to selling rain to the Turks.
Elárultad a földet és a népét, eladtad az esőt és a reggeli harmatot az ellenségnek. Súlyos bűnödért lakolnod kell.
But one woman, heavy with child, was spared. For the moment. The law would not burn her belly while it carried life. They held her in the cells until she birthed her baby. Only then, in the spring, did they drag her back to the pyre. The infant lived. The mother did not. Her delay was no mercy, only a postponement of the flames. Trials, torture, the ordeal by water, confessions wrung by fear and iron. In the end, it was spectacle, a lesson burned into flesh for the city's misery. Down in Ratzenstadt, they said you could see the red pulse of flames on the horizon. Travelers swore the cries and the stench crossed the river whole, perhaps only frontier imagination. Yet the terror was real. On the river's edge, men spat into the Danube as if the river might spit the curse back. Each person haunted not only by what they knew, but by what they invented. It wasn't just Szeged that burned. The fire licked all the way to Petrovaradin and beyond, settling like dread in the chest of every soul who heard. Even those who never left their quarter would later say, "That summer, we saw the sky burn." By morning, the world looked unchanged. No rain, no harvest, only quieter. The witches were gone, but no one felt safer. Ratzenstadt, remedies slipped quietly from the market. Even Almash's bustling lanes seemed subdued, as prayers for rain gave way to nervous glances. To speak of charms, or to lay a hand for healing, became something done only behind closed doors, if at all. Over in Petrovaradin, the command outlawed idle talk of witchcraft, lest unrest take root. Yet chaplains found new fervor, condemning each fever as Satan's slow hand. Beyond the walls, suspicion beat on. Orthodox prayers whispered in shadow, fortress drums punctuating the silence, unease on every doorstep. And what did people learn? That in this empire, where justice meant both field guns and bonfires, fear was as sharp a tool as any blade. You could be shot as a rebel or burned as a witch. Either way, the empire named it justice. Lessons like that stay burned into memory. The fire did not die with those bodies. It carved a scar across the frontier's mind. For years, decades even, people remembered. Children kept away from Szeged, and elders warned their children. In famine we become cruel. In hunger we devour each other first. And mothers would whisper another truth, that even a child's birth could not save its mother from the fire. Under Maria Theresa, the trials ended. No more burnings sanctioned, not after the lesson Szeged had carved into the land. But memory cannot be legislated away. Sometimes I walk down the Danube after midnight and listen for bells in the fog. Sometimes, though perhaps only in my imagination, you catch a note, a hush, a shiver in the air older than the city itself. In times of hunger and fear, reason is always the first to die. Mercy follows soon after. Fires have their own memory, you see. And though the city moved on, survived wars, raised churches, filled its markets, the warnings still echo beneath the cobblestones. As long as we remember the night the flames came close, there is hope we will never feed them again. And on Szeged, when the wind turns south, the Tissa still whispers of witches.
Thank you for listening to another episode. Stay tuned for more forgotten stories, hidden places, and voices that time tried to silence. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your steps quiet. And remember, you are not welcome here.